All right, welcome to News 6 Extra. I'm Christopher Heath. It is Wednesday, October the 22nd. This time next week, we will all be preparing for Halloween and, the festivities that go therewith. Kathleen, you can see behind me. Well, Kathleen, you can't see behind me. But Kathleen, if you look behind me, you can see a very busy lobby here.
Right, very busy.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's going on out there, I'll let everyone in on it, is they have food. Somebody has catered food for us, and it smells delicious. And they got here right as News 6 was starting. News 6 Extra was starting, which means by the time Kathleen and I finish, there will be one shred of lettuce and one grain of rice for us to enjoy.
Right.
Split those. You know what? It'll be good.
Maybe there'll be a few black olives or tomatoes, too. Maybe we can make a mini salad.
Very, very mini salad. Oh, yeah. So anyway, that's good stuff. All right. David Nazario is joining us. I told him, I saw him like 3 seconds ago. I was going to my office to grab something. He ducked his head and he goes, "Hey." I was like, "What? What? Don't speak to me that way." And he's like, "Can we talk about Melissa?" And I was like, you and the weather. Always like, "Chris, we need to talk about the weather." And I'm like, "David, fine." But all right, David, you got your wish. How's Melissa?
I appreciate that a lot, Chris. And I promise for folks tuning in, I remind myself of customs and courtesies being a military person. There's no way I'd ever address Chris, "Hey," but I will say I just did a full article for ClickO as well if you want to check that out. That's the more long-winded deep dive. Disclaimer, Central Florida, we are just about at the 1, if not 0% chance Melissa comes to affect us, but things down in the Caribbean for our friends, especially in Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, and then eventually the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, things are looking a little on the concerning side and possibly the disastrous side, depending on what happens out there. So I want to get you the latest advisory for Melissa right now. This is as of 11 o'clock. We've got the recon crews doing their thing, taking the observations and surveying the system. Pressure's come down a few millibars since we met yesterday, and the winds remain at 50 miles an hour. But notice that forward progress has really come to a screeching halt. The e-brake has been pulled on Melissa, and it's pretty much gone stationary for all intents and purposes south of Haiti and Jamaica, where it is expected to start to lift towards the north. And this just came out with the 11 o'clock advisory. This is our latest forecast track, headed up towards both of those areas, curving back to the left. Now, National Hurricane Center is fairly confident we will have a major hurricane moving very slowly just to the south of Jamaica, putting them on the most destructive side of the system. And if I'm being very transparent with you all watching, I want to say that they're still erring on the conservative side based on what some of our latest higher resolution computer models have put out since last night. They've gotten the data from the recon crews. Typically, that's when they start to get a lot more accurate with their not only track forecast, but their intensity forecast. I'm not going to show you that here just for the sake of time. If you want to head over to my news article on clickorlando.com after we close out News 6 Extra, feel free to do so. This is the satellite image for Melissa right now, and I have a different enhancement curve on here. And basically what that means is different colors. And what this is called are your enhanced color tops, because I want to show you just how intense the thunderstorms are that are firing near the center of circulation on this thing. And that's why I do believe within the next day or two, we're probably going to be looking at Hurricane Melissa, potentially ahead of schedule once that westerly shear finally starts to weaken down just a little bit as it moves up towards the islands. The spaghetti plots not really doing us a whole lot of favors just yet. They're starting to zero in on that slow turn towards the left, still keeping Haiti, Cuba, and especially Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, in the crosshairs for a potentially rapidly intensifying system. And this is why I have my concerns as of this afternoon. What we're looking at here is going to be called your deep ocean energy. So tropical features, they feed off, obviously, the warm ocean waters at the surface. And then you'll sometimes hear tropical experts mention that maybe if it moves slow enough, it will upwell itself to death, meaning it'll take all that warm water at the top of the surface of the water, get rid of it, use it as energy, and then we'll have to fill the gap in with cooler water from underneath. What this shows you is how hot and how much energy is below, well below the surface. So unfortunately, the sky is kind of the limit in terms of the potential intensity we can see from Melissa, especially as it moves further off towards the west. These are going to be your upper level winds. So we just talked the surface component being the water, what's below the surface of the water. And then I know this is a very busy chart, but I want you to look closely at what we have in the circles here. Let me go ahead and pull that up. And forgive me, I'm taking up a little more time, but I just want to get the message across. Notice how the colors rapidly transition from red, orange, yellow, green, etc. to almost nothing right in through there. And that's precisely where Melissa is expected to track. So on top of some of the warmest waters that the basin has to offer all across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gulf, we're also moving into an area with optimized lift. Lots of really good upper level forcing for exhaust. So you got a lot of energy at the surface and a great way to let it out, just like a turbocharged automobile out there that you would find, street racing or drag racing, the NASCAR, etc. So definitely keep our friends down to the south in your thoughts. We got to hope for the best for them because this could definitely be a big one, and we're going to be watching it every step of the way. Now, some good news. Like I said, Central Florida not really dabbling with Melissa. We still have that very, very, very low end chance. It tries to throw a little weather our way, but as of right now, for the week remaining, a little bit of a gloomy start this morning. That's because we've got another cold front coming down. Cooler weather the next few days and some weekend rains that we could be tracking as we go through Sunday and then next Monday. A little bit of a dry front when you move over to the water vapor. You can kind of see the little wispy clouds near where that blue line is. That's the front sinking in as we go through the rest of the day today. Not a lot of rain expected with it, though. When you look at the radar, there's pretty much nada out there. A couple little stray showers well off our east coast, tapping into the warm waters out there. Too much dry air over Tampa, having moved through Tallahassee and Jacksonville earlier this morning. So kind of neat how we can track that. And then on the backside of it, our winds are really going to pick up until that next system arrives, just in time for the weekend, keeping us fairly dry. Temperatures rather tame. You can see this afternoon hovering in the upper 70s, the low 80s, which is beautiful weather to tell you the truth. The increased clouds earlier this morning definitely gave us and threw us a bone. You can see the high temps were going to bottom out in the 11 days, maybe even below average as the next front sinks on in. This is a look at the European model clouds and rain for this weekend, starting off on Friday. Saturday, a little bit of building up of moisture along our east coast as the winds once again change from the north back to easterly, coming in off our east coast, moving towards the Gulf. And then as we go through Sunday, notice that front finally working its way in along the leading edge. We're going to see additional moisture that will up our rain chances for Sunday. Right now, we only have about a 20% chance of rain. Could see a little more than that. And then again, as we move into your Monday morning, could see some leftover showers and residual moisture to tap into some stuff as we start to warm up during the first half of your Monday. So looking at the 7-day forecast, pretty crystal clear conditions between now and Saturday. Notice the 20% chance of rain on Sunday. Might have to work to dial that in a little bit as we get closer in time, but then some leftover moisture could give us a small nudge in the rain department into the beginning of next week. Hollow week, if you want to put it that way.
Into Halloween, because you got to make some
Yes.
last minute changes. If it's raining, if it's cold, if it's really hot, costumes have to be adjusted.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my sexy kitty cat costume, I'm going to have to do all kinds of. I'm going to be a vampire this year. I'm going to be Laszlo Cravensworth from What We Do in the Shadows. Any thoughts? You dressing up this year?
I would like to. I'm going to be here nightside, but I think on one of my days off next week, I'll don the good old Michael Myers mask and coveralls for some good old spooky shenanigans. We'll see.
What you should do is the coveralls and it's the Captain Kirk mask, and we have this like wooded area just outside. Just go stand there for like 20 minutes and just like staring off into the distance, just freak everyone out.
I would love
That's
that.
what I
Maybe
would do.
just stand outside the newsroom window.
Yes, until security gets called. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Keep an eye on our friend Melissa out there. Meanwhile, as we turn our attention to my favorite topic, our government. The government is still shut down. I know. We're now into day 22 of the government shutdown. Republicans are still trying to pass something, but they don't have the votes to do that. So we're kind of just rinsing and repeating now. There is an idea out there to maybe have a bill that would pay the essential workers, the ones who are being told you have to still show up and work even though you're not getting paid, to pass just that, so that the essential workers, this is your TSA, this is your military, that they get paid going forward. Now, bear in mind, Congress still gets paid during government shutdown. So, maybe it's fair to pay some of these essential workers that you're making come in. But then, it doesn't mean much for the furloughed workers who are said, well, you need to go home and we're not going to pay you because they're not getting paid. The president has said he will not speak to Democrats until the government reopens. So, speaking of our government, the Senate, again, as I said, will still try and pass something. We'll see what happens. And the House is still things that we enjoy, we're not going to be able to enjoy right now. One of them being air shows. Now, the air shows incorporate a lot of different elements. One of the ones that's a big fan of, I've actually got to fly with the Blue Angels. Obviously, that's a part of the Navy. Well, the Thunderbirds is a part of the United States Air Force, and most of them come through for these air shows. And it's a big draw. So that is causing the Orlando Air Show to say, going to have to put a pin in it for this year. Here's his report.
I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, and we are at the Orlando Sanford International Airport, where a popular annual air show has now been canceled because of the government shutdown. A lot of people have been looking forward to fighter jets like this one roaring across the sky, but with Republicans and Democrats continuing to point fingers at each other, this event is the latest to pay the price. This week, preparations were supposed to happen in Sanford for the annual Orlando Air Show. This video is from previous years. The big draw this year was going to be the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, but since the military can't take part due to the government shutdown, the show can't go on. Organizers putting out a statement saying in part, event producers explored the feasibility of moving forward with an all-civilian lineup. However, dramatically increased public safety costs for this year's event made it impossible to proceed responsibly without military participation. The announcement coming after Senate Republicans gathered with President Trump at the White House and called on Democrats to pass the spending bill necessary to reopen the government.
I would like to meet with both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open.
At issue is health care. Democrats continue to hold out for extended Affordable Care Act subsidies and reversals to cuts to Medicaid.
The decisions made or not in the next 10 days will determine whether working families can afford their health care next year.
Now, Republicans have said the changes Democrats are asking for would give free health care to illegal immigrants. As for the now canceled air show, organizers say if you have already purchased a ticket, you would be eligible for a refund, or you could roll that over to next year's show, which at this point has been scheduled for October 3rd and 4th of 2026. In Sanford, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lane, News 6.
To a terrifying scene in Orlando.
Surveillance video that we obtained from a business across the street shows the moment that utility worker pulls his truck into this driveway behind me. The video also depicts the moment that another man gets inside that truck and drives off.
Caught on camera, this carjacking unfolds right along a busy road as drivers make their way to work. But let's back up just a few minutes, shortly before 7:40 a.m. Monday morning, when this truck pulls into the driveway. Deputies say this utility worker was waiting for his boss to get there to start a job. But instead, walking into the frame is this man, who deputies identified as 22-year-old Stefano Brutus. An arrest affidavit for Brutus states that the defendant asked the worker if he knew the bus route, or if the worker could give him a ride. When the employees, deputies say the victim fought back. But as you can see in the video, shows the suspect was able to get into the truck and back it up before it appears he briefly changes his mind, parks it in the driveway again, gets out, and follows the employee out of frame. Deputies say Brutus pushed the victim down onto the ground, leaving him with cuts and bruises. Then we can see the suspect run back to the truck and take off. The arrest affidavit claims that Brutus then got into a crash at Edgewater and Lee Road before ditching the truck and trying to get into other vehicles.
According to the arrest affidavit, one of the pieces of evidence that booking facility. Mike Valenti, News 6.
All right, stay with us. On the other side of this, we will be talking about property taxes, golf at Dubsdread, and Spirit Halloween is getting into the spirit of other spirituous seasons. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 6 Extra. I'm Christopher Heath. In July, the University of Florida did a great study into Florida's affordability problem. And Florida's had a long-term issue. One, we're not building enough houses. Two, wages for the most part in the state of Florida tend to be rather low. And you add in the people who have moved to the state in the last decade, adding more population, that's more demand. So we're not building enough houses. The demand is only growing. Wages really haven't kept up. That's a perfect storm. When you add into all of that the fact that Florida, despite with our legislature pumping $3 billion into homeowners insurance to try and shore that up, has not been able to really wrestle that thing down. It's still increasing. It's not increasing as bad as it was, but Florida has become unaffordable. Between the cost of buying a house, low wages, and soaring property insurance, it is just unaffordable, Florida. So add all of that up, and what you are seeing lawmakers do is try and find the one lever they still have at their disposal to make the state somewhat affordable, and that is property taxes. The problem there, as Matt Austin discovered, is that property taxes pay for everything from public safety to schools. It's local governments that need that to keep the lights on for the services we all rely on. So as the legislature gets ready to go back into session, Matt Austin took a look at what lawmakers are proposing and what it would mean for you.
With all the headlines surrounding property taxes, we wanted to give some perspective on what all of this means. If the state makes cuts to the lifelines for local government, how will it impact your services?
Taxpayers need relief.
Governor Ron DeSantis has made it clear he wants major changes to Florida's property tax system.
Is the property yours, or are you just renting it from the government?
Thank you for talking to us today. We appreciate it.
When I spoke with State CFO Blaise Ngolia earlier this year, he emphasized property tax cuts are the main reason behind DOGE cuts.
You have been very outspoken about getting rid of property taxes.
So the first thing you have to know is that we're not getting rid of property. I would love to get rid of property taxes altogether, but the proposal is to get rid of property taxes on homesteaded properties.
A recent barrage of bills describes what the Florida House refuses to cut. Language keeps any government from reducing funding for law enforcement, and school taxes will also be off limits. Currently, property taxes make up 46% of funding for Florida schools, or $21 billion.
Where can they make a cut that they can pretty much put the pressure on the counties to say, well, you tighten your belt, but don't touch public safety, don't touch schools. It's unfortunate that's where the most of the money goes.
J.R. Kroll is the Republican Seminole County tax collector. He says these changes would impact every county in different ways.
You know, we have one skyscraper here in Seminole County, and it's not finished. It's the eyesore. Meanwhile, you go to Tampa, Orlando, they have skyscrapers, and you can imagine the hundreds of thousands of dollars that they pay in property taxes in each building.
So let's use that one skyscraper to illustrate the point. This is the I-4 eyesore. So imagine this whole structure is all the property taxes in the state of Florida. The state says 35% of all property taxes come from homesteaded residences. However, in Seminole County, it's 42%. In Osceola, the ratio looks more like this. Only 27% of revenue comes from homesteaded houses.
Here's the other issue. According to the Florida Department of Revenue, 29 of Florida's 67 counties are fiscally constrained. That means their property taxes aren't high enough to even pay their current bills.
Everything always comes down to politics, red or blue. You are a Republican, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm Republican.
So how do you jive that with your own personal politics with what's happening in the state?
I mean, to me, it's not a politics issue. I mean, it is right now because we're a Republican-led state, but the issue is still a money issue. So I said, regardless if it was a Republican or Democrat, I'm still going to say, well, show me, you know, like Jerry Maguire, show me the money. You know, where are we going to get this from?
For any of these proposed cuts to take effect, the Florida House and Senate must agree on a plan, then the governor would sign off, and finally, Florida voters would have the final say in November of 2026. Any constitutional amendment requires a 60% voter approval to become law. I'm Matt Austin, News 6.
And a fun fact for you. The constitutional amendment that we passed to require 60% for constitutional amendments passed with less than 60%. That's a fun fact. Do with it what you will. All right. We are off from property taxes to a beautiful stretch of property not too far from here, a place where I've lost several titleists over the years, a couple top flights. We're talking about Dubsdread, the historic golf course 101 years old. Never looked so good. Got brand new. There's Matt Austin. Got brand new driving ranges, state of the art. Our own Lisa Bell, who is a fantastic human being, just an absolute delight to be around, who, brightens every room as she walks in. I think we could easily say everyone's favorite employee here at News 6. She's sitting right there. She has this story on Dubsdread.
This 100-year-old golf course is getting a 21st century makeover. I'm News 6 anchor Lisa Bell. Today, Dubsdread Golf Course celebrated the grand opening of its new high-tech driving range and learning center.
Swing.
Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, City Commissioner Robert Stewart, and others taking the celebratory first swing. The new range features 40 new covered bays. 36 of them are equipped with state-of-the-art TrackMan technology, which allows golfers to play other courses, tournaments, and more, all virtually. Each golfer's swing is tracked by Doppler radar, recording speed, distance, and more. We first took a tour of the upgrades last month. Also new, an indoor air-conditioned learning center, where TrackMan technology broke down my swing into 44 separate variables.
How bad was I?
This tells you your ball speed. This tells you your club path.
Oh, I would have gotten 132 yards?
Yeah, you would have went 130.
We were there as they cut the ribbon to the new facility and followed up with Dubsdread General Manager Rodney Reef-Snyder.
I can tell you I've heard so much buzz. So many people in College Park are so excited for this to finally be open and to come out here and experience this. What can people expect when they come out here?
They can expect top-notch service. We've got an amazing staff of food and beverage employees that has grown greatly over the last couple months. And they can expect what I perceive as a very well-priced product and experience. And we want all the feedback. If there's something going on that they don't like, we want to know it. But
families come out to visit in the same way they would go to places like Topgolf.
For more on all the renovations that have happened here at Dubsdread, check out our previous coverage at clickorlando.com. Lisa Bell, News 6.
Kath Lee, we got to head over there. Play 18.
Well, I'm not sure you'd want me to play 18. I'm not very good at golf, judging by how I do at Topgolf, but I like watching golf.
The last time I played golf, and I don't play that often, I did play at Dubsdread, and it's affordable. Like, it really is. So many golf courses, you're forking over, some big bucks, and it was nice. The carts were clean. The, little amenities were fantastic. So, and it's real near here. Like, it's just real close by to the station. So
yeah,
I might put that on the list of things to do.
Yeah, it's a beautiful property. I've been there.
We will requisition funds for the entire News 6 Extra team, and occasionally David Nazario.
Well, that's true.
And occasionally Michelle Morgan.
Right, we can't leave them out, so they can come too.
But that's it. All right. Spirit Halloween is launching a new Spirit Christmas. This is cool. None in Florida yet. There's one up in Jersey. There it is. Spirit Halloween. I love the memes of Spirit Halloween. Whenever some business is does something and you're like, oh, they're going to go out of business. Like, people immediately turn it into a Spirit Halloween. It's like, that's kind of the joke of if your business fails, you just become a Spirit Halloween. But they pop up every year selling all the Halloween stuff you could ever want. And now they're venturing into Christmas because we can't have enough tchotchkes and other things around our house. We need more stuff to fully celebrate the season and everything that's attached to it. I'm also one of these people that notes every year when I walk into Lowe's or Home Depot how quickly they have started the Christmas season. We're not even through 4th of July and Halloween's already up, and we're not even past Labor Day and it's Thanksgiving's already up. And then, I was in the other day and the Halloween stuff's now being pushed to the side as the Christmas stuff is starting to come out. And it's just what are we doing, people?
No, I was in a Lowe's, I think, a couple weeks ago, and they had one side of the aisle was all Halloween and these big skeleton and monsters, and then the other side was Santa. And so, just kind of all combines into one.
Yeah, because if anything needs to be intertwined, it is ghosts and goblins with Kris Kringle and baby Jesus. Just bringing it all together into one gigantic, never-ending 3-month holiday of candy, bobbing for apples, hanging the stockings with care in hopes that Jack Skellington will soon be there.
I know they're kind of complete opposites, but yeah, and I was like, wow, over here's kind of scary, over here's kind of happy and festive. It's very strange.
Well, we live in a very strange time, and getting stranger by the day. All right, sure. I think we've done all we can. The line is, I think we timed this out. The line is pretty well dissipated.
Oh,
there appears to be some food left.
Hey, we may get lucky.
We'll bring this show to a conclusion so we can go get something to eat. But thank you, Kathleen, as always, for all of your hard work. Thank you to David for updating us on